The house is a little off.
That's smart, right? Yeah.
I know it might, yeah, you're allowed to move up.
Yeah, we did, oh, yeah.
This is very much.
He lived this, we had him here for about 8 or 9 months. He said,
That's what else tonight?
No, tonight's his mother.
It's your mom.
My mother's
Do people who move actually just,
well, we have to.
That's a good question, whether they would send us the plan, if you wanted to. Normally you buy another one.
Yeah.
But-
they're very expensive. Do they rearrange?
So I think that's okay. They have to sort of warranty.
I know what we have
You
to.
have to be back here so that I can forget what it was.
So girls, will you open to page 13? And, well, I'm gonna give mom a break if she wants. It's up to you. Would you like to come up too?
Yeah.
Okay. Rob Ziva, will you come up and join on page 13 and help me with Sean Willett? And the episode. And then you'll also, if for any reason, by the time we get to the first Kaddish, that we don't have another, I'm not counting, but another 3 or 4 people on Zoom time. Otherwise, I'm gonna assume we do.
We have time.
Excellent.
Let's do this.
Okay, we're on page 13. Shalom Aleichem. Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu Baruch Hu L'Shalom Malachei HaShalom Malachei Elyon Melech Malachei Hamlachim Kadosh Baruch Hu Tzidchem l'shalom, malachei hashalom, malachei elyon. Melech malachei hamlachim hakadosh baruch Hu. Shabbat shalom to everyone in the sanctuary, the synagogue, everyone who's in the Zoomagogue. Welcome. We're on page 14 for Yedid Nefesh. We're settling in. I think for many of us, it's particularly, we were reminded or deepen our connection to God through nature during the summer. I mean, at all times, but especially at these times where there's so much wildlife outside. And so whatever wildlife you imagine your spirit inhabiting, or vice versa, whatever you imagine those kinds of species of wildlife inside of you expressing themselves through your instincts, your spirit, maybe even genetic material, whatever your spirit animal is, however you connect to God through nature, we connect with that now as we sing the last verses of Yedid Nefesh. Yedid Nefesh, Avarachaman, Mishohavdach, Eretzonach, Yarutz Avdach, Kemo Aya, Yishtachaveh, Emul Hadara, Yeravo, Yedidutach, Minofetzu, Vechol Ta'am. Last verse. Higale na ufros chaviv alayet sukat shelomah ta'ir eretz mikvodach Nagila v'nismecha bach, Maher ahuv giva moed, V'chaneni ki me'olam. Yada da 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 da, yada da 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 da, yada da 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 da, yada da da da, yada da 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 da, yada da 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 da, yada da 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 da, yada da da da, yada da 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 da, yada da 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 da, yada da 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 da, yada da da da. Page 15, as we head into Psalm 95, whatever baggage you're carrying from the week, it's time to let it go. So we shift from being beasts of burden during the week to Yedid Nefesh, where we're like a wild animal that carries no burden. And now we specifically arrive in our pilgrimage at the entryway, the gate to Shabbat. And because we can't carry from one domain into another domain in Shabbat, whatever burdens from the week we're carrying, we place down and we do not take them in. If you're worried about someone's health, if you're worried that you didn't return a phone call or an email, if you're worried you reacted poorly to what someone said, or that there's a chore that you didn't get to, that we leave it at the gateway to Shabbat and we pick it up on the way out tomorrow night. So identify what you're leaving, what you're not taking with you, and drop it as we sing together. Adonai, Naria litzor yishenu, Nekad mafana, etoda, Izmiro, Naria lo. And now we imagine ourselves as sheep, and God is our shepherd, and we're not carrying a burden. And all we have to do for the next 25 hours is graze a little and snuggle up against maybe someone else or a friend, and we know that we're not in charge, that someone else can be in charge, God can be in charge. And all we have to do is graze a bit and enjoy nature and be among others in community and in friendship, relationship. And as we hold on to that spirit in the psalm, we sing the final three lines, which there's no room to complain. We make ourselves the promise not to complain to the Master. Arba'im shana akut bedor v'omar amdo elevavim v'hem lo yadu derachai Asher nishbati v'yapi im yavon el menuchati. I'm going to ask at this time that we light candles together. I got you guys up here. Lynn, can I ask you to come up too? I'm trying to recreate a little bit of Zoom Shabbat for those who joined us for a year and a half by Zoom. If it's comfortable to do so, please rise. We may be seated. I'm going to ask you guys to stay up here for a second. I'll give you my blessing, which is, before we do Yevarecha Adonai v'Yirish Merecha, it's customary to say, may you be like Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah, or Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. But I'm going to ask, since I have community around me today, would you pick a figure that you say that you want to insert into this prayer for our girls, which is that who would you like them to be like? You know, some people say Ruth Bader Ginsburg or others. It could be Jewish, it could be not Jewish, it could be a woman, it could be a man, it could be non-binary. So like, is there a person whose qualities you think I would want and it could be someone I know or don't know. Meg has to say something if I call on her. Meg,
Yeah, I think maybe you like Dolly Parton.
we know Dolly.
Yeah.
Dolly Parton.
Dolly. She's one of my favorite famous people. She is always so incredibly humble, although her life has been completely filled with many successes. She doesn't gloat over that, and she always looks out for the less fortunate people and is very, very generous with all of her success and her money especially.
That's beautiful, especially since we have been listening to Dolly Parton this summer. Is there anyone else that would be kind enough to share a name? Again, it could be a relative of yours I would never know, but to tell me the qualities that is worth blessing next generation with.
I say Florence Nightingale. She would really change the course of nursing, and that was my career. So she was always a hero too.
May you be like Florence Nightingale and Dolly Parton. Tiffany.
May you always be willing to stand up against injustice.
Absolutely.
Amen. Yevarecha Adonai v'yishmerecha, Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka, Yisa Adonai panav elecha, v'yasim lecha shalom. May Adonai guard you and keep you, God bless you and keep you. May Adonai shine God's light upon you and bring you graciousness. And may God always turn to you directly. And may, when you look up, feel contentment in your portion. Feel that God is a friend. As we say, Amen. Thank you. Thanks for your help. With that, I'm going to send you down for a little. Actually, no, stay up because I'm going to do Lachadudi with you guys. For those, and I really invite those who like to daven the Kabbalat Shabbat service traditionally, please phase out my voice and focus on the Psalms. But I'd like to share a couple of poems at this time. I'm sharing from The Dream of the Poem, Hebrew poetry from Muslim and Christian Spain between 950 and 1492, edited, translated by Peter Cole. This is from the famous medieval poet Solomon ibn Gabirol. So adapt it, put on your medieval glasses a little bit, like don't let the language and the imagery be a block. I look for you, my rock and my refuge, offering you worship morning and night before your vastness. I come confused and I'm afraid because my inner thoughts are seen by you. What could the heart ever compose? What could the tongue ever say, or spirit's strength within me that could suit you? But I do know that song soothes you, and so I'll give praise to your being as long as your breath in me moves. I'd chosen another one and now I somehow misplaced it. And so I guess that's the way it's supposed to be. Oh no, this looks like it. I love this. I have set my shelter with you in my awe and in my despair. Established your name as a fortress. I have looked to the right and to the left and no one was near. And into your hands, I committed my loneness. I'm just going to repeat that and remind you that looking to the left and the right and no one was near is a quote from the Torah. Does everybody remember to watch The Prince of Egypt? That's when Moses is about to attack and he looks left and right and no one is near and then kills the Egyptian. So, but he uses it this way. I looked to the left and to the right and no one was near. And then I committed my loneness into your hands. I give you my portion of the world's worth. Of all my labor, you're my desire and cause. And here, out of love, in you, my mind is immersed. In song's hour, the work of my worship is yours. Solomon ibn Gebirah. And that takes us to Lachadodi on page 21. So I'll let you turn to page 21, so make sure we get there. Lechadodi likra kahala pene Shabbat nekabela shamur v'zachor b'diborecha ishmianu el am yuchad Adonai echad u'shemo echad l'shem ultiferet v'litila lechadodi likra kahala pene Shabbat nekabela likrat Shabbat lechuvenecha ki mekor haberacha merosh mikedem nesucha sof maaseh b'machshava hatechila lechadodi likra kahala pene Shabbat nekabela mikdash melech Imelucha kumitzei mitocha hafecha rav lach shevet be'emek habacha vehu yachamol alayichem la lechadodi likra kahala pene Shabbat nekabel. Middle of 22. Yamin usma'ol tifrotzi v'yet Adonai taritzi al yadish Behem parzi v'nismecha v'nagila lechadodi likra kahala b'nei Shabbat. Please rise and let's welcome Shabbat at the door. Boi v'shalom atere ba'ala gam b'simcha u'v'tzahala toch emunei am segula boi chala Boi kala lechadodi likra kahala pene Shabbat nekabela. We're seated and head into the Shabbat Psalm on page 23. Mizmor shir, shir liyom haShabbat. Mizmor shir, shir liyom haShabbat. Tov lehodot l'Adonai u'lezamer l'shimcha elyon. L'hagid ba'boker chastecha v'emunatcha ba'leilot. Mizmor shir, shir liyom haShabbat. Mizmor shir, shir liyom haShabbat. We go silently to the bottom of 23. Tzadikata hamar yifrach ke'erez balvanon yiske shetulim beveit Adonai b'chatzrot Eloheinu yafrichu od yenuvon b'seva deshenim verananim yihu lehagir ki ashar Adonai tzuri v'lo avlatabon. I was asked by these guys whether I'd have them up for the whole service. I said, just for the parts you know, but I'm going to keep you up a little longer because we're just going to keep doing parts you know. So we are on page 24, ready for the first of our two mourners' Kaddishes. I'm going to ask you to stay up with me. The rivers may rise and rage, the waters may pound and pulsate, and the floods may swirl and storm. But above the crash of the sea and its mighty breakers is Adonai our God, supreme. Your decrees, Adonai, never fail. Holiness befits your house for eternity. On this Shabbat, Beth Israel congregation remembers, among others, the Yortzites of Cliff Barish, William Best, Sidney Bluestein, Sam Brody, Harold Buckman, Annie Garber Kagan, Marvin Epstein, Leo Freed, William Galler, Beverly Gershowitz, Charles Goldman, Wallace Hodgson, Joseph Ingber, Frida Kaufman, Israel Kaufman, Perry Klein, Gilbert Lansky, Amy Lasbin, Sonia Mohill, Tanuva Wechter Paul, Sam Polsky, Irving Schneider, Raphael Scobie, Stanley Shapiro, Isidore Scherer, Bertie Silver, Jacob Sokolov, Liddy Sperber, Esther Wenneker Ressler, Victoria Zummer, as we continue to say Kaddish for Natalie Scher, Susan Feingold Schultz, Judith Cashton, Lorraine Sherman, Michael Adams, Leona Leon, Phyllis Werbel, Fanchen Lessing, Carol Feinerman, David Fallman, Bruce Thal, Carla Amster, Gary Joseph Ullman, Paul Ernest Phillips, Leslie Garber Matthews, Raisa Levinskaya, Alice Cohen, Toby Barthen Rothaus, Vivian Perlstein, Marty Lindenauer, and Bonnie Rosenberg. And is there anyone who's saying Kaddish tonight? And you're saying it for your mother?
Francis Adler.
Francis Adler. For those reciting, please rise and recite along with me, bottom of page 24. Yikadal v'yikadash shemei rabbah, v'yalma divrach kirute v'yamlich malchute, v'chayechon u'vyomechon u'v'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'vizman kari v'imru amen. Yehi shmei rabbah mevarach v'olam u'lamei al-maya. Yiparach v'yishtabach v'yipa'ar v'yitromam v'yinaseh v'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shmei d'kudashah brichu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tishbechata v'nechemata da'amiran v'alma v'imru amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Aseh shalom b'mromav hu ya'aseh shalom Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. We may be seated. May their blessings, may their memories continue to bring blessings to this world. We're on page 28, and we're in the middle of the page. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bidvaro ma'ari paradim. Ma'avir yom u'mevid laila, ma'avdil ben yom u'ben laila, Adonai tzvaot shemo, El chai v'kayam, tamid yimloch aleinu le'olam va'ed, Baruch atah Adonai, ha'ma'arihi v'aravim. Page 29 for Ahavat Olam. Ahavat Olam, Beit Yisrael, Amcha avta, Torah u'mitzvot, chukim u'mishpatim, otanu limadeta. Akin Adonai Eloheinu, shochbenu uvekumenu, nasiach b'chukecha, v'nismach b'divrei Toratecha, uvemitzvotecha le'olam va'ed. Ki hem chayenu v'orech yamenu, v'orech yamenu, uvahem nege yomam v'layla. V'avatcha tasimenu l'olamim, Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev amo Yisrael. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. For the first paragraph on page 30, the V'ahavta, I'm going to ask Marav and Ziva to lead. I'm going to ask you to face that way, because then you'll have a microphone. So do me a favor, take my spot, Marav and Ziva, turn around and face the ark. You guys are fine where you are. And for the V'ahavta, I'm going to ask you to chant it for us. We can sing along. And the reason is because it is really honoring the places in which we get the teachings about God. I've said many times, it's not just in synagogue or Hebrew school that we learn about God. We're learning it in these transitional moments of our lives. You're being driven someplace, you're coming back, you're getting ready for a bike ride with your mom, you're coming back and feeding the cat. What happens in those moments of waking up in the morning, what happens during the long process of going to bed at night. It's whatever's said in those moments are really sharing the love and teachings of God. So I think it's really appropriate that you chant these lines from the Torah for us as we sing along for the V'ahavta, page 30. Come on, put your book here, and there you go.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך ושיננתם לפניך ודיברת בם בשיטתך בביתך ובלבתך בדרך ובשבתך ובלומך ושלתם ועוד על ידיך והיו תותפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך.
We continue silently for the rest of 30 and 31. Adonai Elohechem Emet Emet V'nakol Sov Kayam Aleinu. We are on page 32, and Rob's going to read the paragraph, "You cannot find redemption," and then Ziva's going to read, "The world is in need," and you don't have to be perfect.
You cannot find redemption until you see the flaws in your own soul and try to efface them. Nor can a people be redeemed until it sees the flaws in its soul and tries to efface them. But whether it be an individual or a people, whoever shuts out the realization of their flaws is shutting out redemption. We can be redeemed only to the extent to which we see ourselves.
The world is in need of redemption, but the redemption must not be expected to happen as an act of sheer grace. Our task is to make the world worthy of redemption. Our faith and our works are preparations for ultimate redemption.
Umalchuto b'ratzon kiblu aleihem Moshe Miriam b'nei Israel lechanusha b'simcha rabba v'amru chulam mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh Norati lo tosef ele Malchutecha ra'u vanecha bokei yam lifnei Moshe ze'eli anu v'yamaru Adonai himlo leolam va'ed v'ne'emar kifada Adonai et Yaakov golo michazak mimenu baruch atah Adonai ka'al Yisrael. Let's read the Hashkivenu together in English on page 33. Help us, Adonai, to lie down in peace and awaken us again, our sovereign, to life. Spread over us your shelter of peace. Guide us with your good counsel. Save us because of your mercy. Shield us from enemies and pestilence, from starvation, sword, and sorrow. Remove the evil forces that surround us. Shelter us in the shadow of your wings, O God, who watches over us and delivers us, our gracious and merciful ruler. Guard our coming and our going. Grant us life and peace now and always. Spread over us the shelter of your peace. Praised are you, Adonai, who spreads the shelter of peace over us, over all your people Israel, and over Jerusalem. Ken Yehi Ratzon. Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom aleinu, ve'al kol amo Yisrael, v'al Yerushalayim. Page 34. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam b'rit olam beini uvein b'nei Yisrael oti leolam oti leolam oti leolam Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat La'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam b'rit olam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et ha-shamayim v'et ha'aretz. V'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam b'rit olam. Uvayom hashvi'i Shabbat vayinafash Shabbat vayinafash Shabbat vayinafash v'shamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam b'rit olam. And now you may go sit with your mother. Shabbat, thank you for your help. I know when I said I just asked you to do a few prayers, that you probably didn't expect to be up here this long. Shabbat shalom. Thanks for making Shabbat together on this evening. It takes a choice and an effort, and I'm grateful for it. I'm going to share a joke. I only know 2 jokes, and one of them I can't tell because it's a little too blue. So I only have one joke that's fit for the Bima, and I will tell the other joke someday if you want to know in the hallway. I can tell too. But so I may tell it again someday. Don't hold it against me, but I haven't told it in a while. And you may know it. It's a common Jewish joke, but I love its poignant message. So here it is. One day, the rabbi's in his office, and there's an appointment with a man, not a member of the synagogue, not affiliated with Judaism. Comes in, he asks for an appointment with the rabbi, and the rabbi grants him one. Comes in, the rabbi gets up, says hello, what's your name? When's together? He said, Rabbi, sit down. I'm going to make this quick on you. It's going to be painless. He's like, I don't have time for small talk. Not here to join the congregation. Not here to find out about all the great ways we can make community and all those things. Got it. I know you're a businessman just like me, but we can skip the talk. I'm a businessman. I get things done. And here's what I got for you. I want to be a Kohen. I want to be a priest. Rabbi says, you want to be a Kohen? Well, let me explain to you. It's not so easy. Rabbi, listen, I'm not here for the chit chat. I like to get right to the bottom line. I want to be a Kohen. I want you to make me a Kohen right here. I'm getting out my checkbook and I'm writing a check to the Widows and Orphans Funds as we speak. You know, what's it going to be? 180? I heard that was a special Jewish number. Gets it out. The rabbi says, no, stop. It doesn't work like that. I can't just make you a Kohen for $180. It's like, I know we're negotiating. I got it. We're there. I'm going to write a check to the rabbi's fund, discretionary fund, use it any way you want, $500, and you're going to make me a Kohen, going to be out of your hair forever. And the rabbi's like, no, you got to listen to me. Let me teach you a little something about being a Kohen and how you become a Kohen. And the guy says, Rabbi, you drive a hard bargain, and I don't have any time left. So this is what it's going to be. I'm writing a check for $18,000 to the building fund. I know no one wants to pay building fund anymore, and I know it's probably falling apart. I'm filling in the O's as we speak, and I'm signing my name. Just make me Kohen. You'll never have to talk to me again. So the rabbi says, sure. I now bestow upon you, you're a Kohen. The guy hands over the check. The rabbi says, can I ask you one question? The guy's thrilled, by the way. He's like, Rabbi, you don't know how happy you've made me. This is one of the most meaningful days of my life. Thank you. And the rabbi says, I'll get out of your hair. The rabbi says, can I ask you one question? Just one question. Why did you want so badly to be a Kohen? And the guy says, well, this is the thing. My father was a Kohen. My grandfather was a Kohen. So I wanted to be a Kohen too. So just to make sure everyone's up to speed on YouTube, the way you become a Kohen is your father has to be a Kohen, right? And then his father has to be a Kohen. And that's the way it's passed down. So obviously it's a joke that to me, it's like High Holy Day worthy. it's so sad how many people don't know the heritage that they've inherited. And we just did the Vishamru. We have a covenant in which we bestow upon generation and then generation and generation the beauty of Torah, the beauty of our holidays, the beauty of our values, trying to shape people to serve God instead of just themselves. And people don't know the heritage that they could be receiving because they choose not to. And then when they miss it, and they say, if only I had the heritage, and they don't understand it was there all along. But Shabbat Shalom. Let's head into our standing silent Amidah as we try to take in that heritage of Shabbat and Torah and weave it into the purpose and actions of our lives. Yitkada v'yitkada shemei Rabba v'yamad divra kirutei v'yamlich malchutei b'chayechon uvyom echon uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael b'gala b'zman kariv be'imeru amen. Yehi shmei Rabba mevarach Ya'alam ulamei amaya Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yipar v'yitromam v'yinaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal Shmei Kedusha. Please rise. Le'ehela min kol berchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiran v'yama v'imeru. Amen. 35b to 38 in Hebrew or in English, or your own personal extemporaneous prayers. For those still praying, please continue as the rest of us are on page 47, and it is not my custom to stand for that page. Vayehulu hashamayim v'haaretz v'chol tzivam vayechal Elohim bayom hashvihi melachto asher asa Vayishbot bayom hashvihi mikol melachto asher asa Vayevarech Elohim et yom hashvihi vayekadesh oto kivo shavat mikol melachto kivo shavat mikol melachto Asher bara Elohim, Asher bara Elohim asod Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avoteinu v'Imotzeinu Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Konei Shamayim v'Aaretz, Magen Avod bidvaro, Mechaye Metim b'ma'amaro, Ha'el Hakadosh she'en kamohu, Hameniach le'amo, B'yom Shabbat kodsho, Kivam ratza lehaniach lahem, Kivam ratza lehaniach lahem, Lefanav na'avod b'yirav v'fachad, V'nodeh lishmo b'chol yom tamid, Me'on habrachot. El haodaot Adon hashalom Mekadesh hashabbat U'mvarech shvi U'meniach b'kedusha Ve'amdu shnei oner Zecher L'maaseh v'reishi. Let's read together on 48 at the top. Our God and God of our ancestors, find favor in our Shabbat rest. Instill in us the holiness of your mitzvot, and let your Torah be our portion. Fill our lives with your goodness and gladden us with your triumph. Cleanse our hearts so that we might serve you faithfully. Lovingly and willingly, Adonai our God, grant that we inherit your holy Shabbat, so that the people Israel who hallow your name will always find rest on this day. Praised are you, Adonai, who hallows Shabbat. Baruch atah Adonai, mekadesh haShabbat. Yikadal v'kadash shemei rabah, v'yamad divra kirteh, v'yamlich malchuteh, b'chayechonu v'yimechonu b'chaytechu beit Yisrael, b'galav v'zman kari v'imeru. Yehi shmei rabah mevarach, v'yalam olam me'almaya. Yiparach v'yishtabach v'yipar v'yitramam v'yinaseh v'yitadar v'yitala v'yitala shmeru kudesha b'richu le'elam min kol v'rchatav shiratav jeshchatav v'nechamatav damiram b'yama v'imeru Amen. Tikabal tzlot tonavat tontachol Yisrael kol adam avon devishmaya v'imeru Amen. Yehi shalom rabba min shmaya v'chayim alenu v'al kol Yisrael v'imeru Amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav hu yaseh shalom alenu v'al kol Yisrael v'imeru Amen. Please rise for Aleinu, page 51. Aleinu leshabeach ladon hakol, latet gedula liotzer breshit, shelo asanu kegoye haratzot, velo samanu k'mishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkenu kahem, vegor aleinu kechol hamonam. Ve'anachnu korim u'mishtachavim u'modim lifnei melech malchei hamalachim hakadosh baruch hu shehu notesh praise. Kakatu b'toratech Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed. V'ne'emar v'haya Adonai l'melech al kol ha'aretz. Bayom hahu, yeh Adonai echad. U'shemo echad. You may be seated, except for those reciting the Mourner's Kaddish with me on page 52. Yikadal v'yikadash shemei rabbah, v'yalma divra kiruteh v'yamlich malchuteh, v'chayechon u'vyomechon u'v'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'vizman kariv imru amen. Yehi shmei rabbah mevarach le'olam ulamei amaya. Yibarach v'yishtabach v'yipa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei d'kudesha b'richu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran bi'ama v'imru, amen. Yehe shlaman rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, amen. Aseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, amen. Zichronam livracha. Some announcements really quickly are that coming up next week, be careful you don't show up here on Friday night because we'll be at County Farm Park. It's Eco Shabbat all of Friday night and Saturday morning. So on Friday night, we'll be at County Farm Park as we've been in the past. Great. If you have children, grandchildren, or friends you want to bring, there's a lot of room to play. And in addition, we'll have guitar with us on that night. And we'll have Rachel Lawrence Lupton with us to lead us through first the service. If I don't know if it's too late to order, but you could order kosher meals from, no, it's not too late. So if you want to order a kosher meal, we will bring them and you can pick up your meal when you're there, or you can bring BYOB, you can bring your own, actually, I guess there's no B. You can bring your own meal with you and eat it there. So look for the announcements and we'll be meeting there at 5:30 around that time if you want to be part of the kids' Tat Shabbat. But 6 o'clock to 6:30 dinner, and then 6:30 to around 7:15 service. And then following that, because it's part of Eco Weekend, there'll also be tours of the Beth Israel Garden, which is really an amazing thing. A very small number of Beth Israel volunteers on the green team managed to produce on a very small plot an enormous amount of food for food gatherers, and so that they have healthy and nutritious food to eat. And so that's next weekend. On Saturday morning, it will also be part of Eco Shabbat, but of course we'll be here in the sanctuary and we're going to be having ecological themes all through the service. And we look forward to, sponsored by the Green Team, I guess you could say, look forward to that Saturday morning, next Saturday morning. But next weekend continues with Tisha B'Av on Saturday night and Sunday morning and Sunday afternoon. And so I just want to invite everyone who's streaming and everyone who's in the sanctuary, I'd really like you to consider strongly attending, and if possible, and if healthy and safe for you, attending in person this year for Tisha B'Av. We have 3 services to choose from, and particularly on Saturday night, it's a pretty special, I mean, it's a unique service. There's certain services that are unique through the year because we do things we don't do at any other service. And for Tisha B'Av, to incorporate parts of a home Shiva morning process into a service is done at no other time. So for those who are comfortable sitting on the floor, sitting on the bima during parts of the service, as you would at a Shiva home traditionally, there's nothing quite like it. We're supposed to not greet each other and say, how are you? We're supposed to treat it like a Shiva home where you're not allowed to ask people who are bereaved how they are, because it's considered by Judaism to be a stupid question. And if they want to tell you, then they will tell you. They know why you're there. And so they'll say, this is why. And the service that I'll be chanting, it's a short service, short Mariv, is traditionally done in a sort of a pained whisper. I'll make it a little louder so at least people know where we're at, but it's just plaintive and simple, preferably without any, Solomon Imbigan wrote, without any melody at all, without any song. And from 9 to 9:30 next Saturday night, I've chosen, as I've chosen in the past, incredibly beautiful, modern Hebrew and Israeli poetry in translation. We'll read most of it in English, some of it in Hebrew, about the fall of Jerusalem and about the challenges of Israel, even in the modern period, the heartbreak it suffered and whose land it dwells upon. And so I hope you'll join us for the book of not Ecclesiastes, the book of Eicha, Lamentations in English, on next Saturday night. And then we continue because it's a full day of mourning. And so Sunday morning, we'll also read the book of Lamentations in a simple service. And then we make it a complete day by coming back from Mincha at 2:30 p.m. next Sunday. And to finish with those melodies, but now some of the melodies return to normal melodies. And it is kind of that period of exiting Shiva into Shloshim and into the coming period behind that. So I really want to encourage people to enjoy special services, and they're particularly poignant in person if that's a safe and prudent thing to do. Thanks for listening to me talk about it, because I don't think I usually just say, and come to Tisha B'Av services, and I never say what they're really doing. With that, let's finish with Kiddush. Can I invite the family back up? I'd invite all of you, but it gets a little cramped. That would be my ideal. I think Kiddush is back a couple of pages on page 49. And if it's, actually, it's equally accustomed not to rise, so don't feel you have to stand. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho b'yahava uvratzon hinchilanu zikaron l'maaseh v'reishit. Ki hu yom techila l'mikra'e kodesh zecher l'tziat Mitzrayim. Ki vanu v'acharta v'yotanu kidashta mikol ha'amim v'shabbat kodshecha yahava uvratzon hinchatanu. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh haShabbat. Shabbat shalom. Have a wonderful Shabbat. See you tomorrow morning at 9:30 a.m.